my experience with Zapier. I use it to connect HubSpot and QuickBooks. When it comes to automation, I have heavy preference on N8N because it's cheaper and gives more flexibility, but still Zapier could be the weapon of choice in many cases. Hi! In this video, I'd like to share with you about my experience with Zapier and show you several real-life examples where I use it to connect HubSpot and QuickBooks. When it comes to automation, I have heavy preference on N8N because it's cheaper and gives more flexibility to someone with deep technical background, but still Zapier could be the weapon of choice in many cases. It's very good for small automations, also for some basic flows. It's very easy to set up some really basic things. Zapier would be very easy to understand and use for someone without deep technical background. So a regular business owner without experience in software development can easily click around and automate some basic things. Also, for such person, it would be easier to understand what a developer has implemented in the workflow and even make some changes on their own. So it's very easy to do some things with Zapier, but you pay with flexibility. And also it's not the best choice for large complex workflows because of their payment model. They charge per zap, which can easily get expensive, unlike with N8N where you pay per workflow run and the workflow itself can be as complex as you need. Zapier is out there on the market for quite a while already, which is why I face it from time to time, and there are different requests for automations. Today I'd like to show you three workflows which automate connection between HubSpot and QuickBooks. All of them are related to deals. So for example, that one is creating a purchase order in QuickBooks when the deal is reaching the specific stage. So once the deal has reached a specific stage, this workflow is being triggered. So here we get the deal details, we check some conditions about the deal. So if there is some data missing, then there will be a Microsoft Teams message sent to the right person to fix it. Once we validated the deal and the line items, we search for the customer in QuickBooks, and there we have further like a business logic to prepare purchase orders, and then we just create them in QuickBooks. That's one of the examples. So the next one creates estimate in QuickBooks. It's been triggered from HubSpot by just updating the checkbox. Once it's changed, the workflow is triggered. So what we do here, we also collect all of the necessary information. We validate it. In case some information is missing, we send a message to a Teams to appropriate person. And then we have a very good case of this limitation of flexibility of Zapier, because for example, storage by Zapier is quite small. We cannot store much information there. This is why we have to introduce some extra logic with chunks, and some of the things just can be implemented only with code. Here we have like a simple function where we initialize some values. We have a more complex logic, it works, it's doable, it's just not really convenient for developer to implement, so it takes longer here in Zapier than it would be in N8N, for example, and we lose flexibility. So you see here, for example, we had to introduce 3 chunks to save different estimations. So for example, if business of this customer is changing and they introduce even more line items in their deals, then it would again require some of the developers' time to introduce more chunks just to keep it working. And unlike N8N, there we have much more flexibility, so we could have implemented the logic which would just work with any amount of line items. Still, it's out there already for several months. Customer is using it and they're totally fine with it. Yeah, it's really like plenty of zaps just to cover this logic with chunks. And at the end, we just get the information about the deal from HubSpot. We have some business logic here, which is preparing the estimation, which is further being saved in QuickBooks. And the last one is to create invoice in QuickBooks. So that one is also being triggered on the deal status change. And the flow is very similar as usual. The workflow is being triggered when something happens in HubSpot. Then we filter out the data, retrieve information which is missing. Then we have some business logic to prepare the payload for the API query. Like here, for example, also we have some pieces of code. And then once it's ready, we send it to QuickBooks. So at the end of the day, Zapier can be a really very good extension to your HubSpot and QuickBooks or other software where usually you have some of the standard synchronization options or applications already implemented, but quite often you have to go beyond those. And this is where you could use a tool like Zapier to easily automate those flows, and even with little technical knowledge. So at the end of the day, in majority cases, I highly recommend to use N8N because it's cheaper and more flexible. But if you lack technical knowledge and you would like to play around on your own, then Zapier would be the way to go. If you've got any questions, please feel free to post a comment below. If you need help with some of your workflows, just reach out to me. Have a good day.